So in order to do that, I'm going to start how I start my introductory 401 class, which is to talk about what an asset is. I think all of you know what that is, but in the life sciences, it takes on an even more important dimension because the typical definition of an asset may be stretched when you're talking about ideas. Now, you're all familiar with the fact that not only are physical goods and services considered assets, but we've got ideas that are considered assets, right? If you can patent something, that is an asset you can buy and sell. But the idea of being able to shut down a project or the idea of having the flexibility to create and launch new projects, that flexibility is also an asset. And so there are all sorts of things that we would normally not think of as an asset that we have to start taking into account when we're dealing with the life sciences. Knowledge, reputation, opportunities, those are assets. And we have to think about how to value them. So the way that a financial economist would go about it is to say that from a business perspective, an asset is nothing more nor less than a sequence of cash flows. That's it. It's a sequence. By sequence, I mean something that is ordered in time and more than one. And by cash flow, I mean simply a number that is either positive or negative. Positive means money is coming in. Negative means money is going out. Okay? So from our perspective, while we can talk about things like brand and reputation and flexibility, when it comes right down to it, what we are going to want to understand is what are the sequences of cash flows that these so-called assets generate. That's what we mean by an asset. And that's a very beautiful thing because it simplifies our approach to dealing with these kinds of management issues. Once we identify what the sequence of assets is, we can then start to apply various kinds of analytics and frameworks to it. So the idea behind valuing an asset is simply valuing the sequence of cash flows. And the first thing that my introductory finance students are taught is to draw a timeline, because sequence means that it matters what order things occur. So you need to understand exactly when the cash flows are coming in and going out, drawing a timeline to identify that sequence of cash flows. So what we're looking to do is to calculate the value of a sequence of cash flows. And for that, we construct something called the present value operator. An operator is simply a fancy term for a function. It's kind of like a black box. You stick stuff in there and out pops an answer. And the answer is going to be the value today of a sequence of cash flows. So at this level of generality, it's so general that it's vacuous. I haven't really said anything. And there are two distinct cases that we look at in introductory finance. One is the non-random case. In other words, you know exactly when the sequence of cash flows is occurring and what the cash flows are in advance. That's a case that we can handle and we have handled and is completely solved. We know how to value sequences of non-stochastic cash flows. So I'm going to be showing you how to do that in the course of the next few minutes. But that's not the interesting case, as you might have guessed. The really interesting case is the case that we don't fully know how to deal with, but we have partial solutions to that we'll be covering over the next 3 or 4 weeks. And that is that we don't know what the cash flows are, and we might not even know what the timing is. There may be uncertainty about both the quantity and the timing of the cash flow. That's certainly the case in large drug development projects. There are many other factors that lead to the fact that we don't know how to deal with these kinds of situations.